What's going on? David Page here. Today, the student body is playing at a corporate event for Miller High Life, and I'm going to show you how we run our in-ears using the Behringer XR18. Check it out. This is our in-ear rack. It's where we keep our split snake, our mixer, the digital mixer. We use the Behringer XR18. And then in here, we keep all of our transmitters for our wireless. So let's take a look. Up top, we have our split snake. All of our inputs go into this first, and then we have one tail of the split snake that directly feeds our Behringer XR18 mixer. Right down here along the bottom are the 6 aux sends. Aux send 1 is for my in-ear mix. Aux send 2 is for Stephanie's in-ear mix. Aux 3 is for Dave's in-ear mix on the drums. Aux 4 is for Tim's in-ear mix. And aux 5 and 6, Adam is using a stereo in-ear mix. This is the cable that comes out of aux 1, and that's gonna go right into my in-ear transmitter. Aux 2 and 3 go into Stephanie's send. And aux 4 for Tim actually comes out of the back here. And Tim keeps his in-ears right over here. Right here is Adam's in-ear monitor transmitter, and so the signal coming from aux 5 and 6 are gonna go into the back of this one. Now that we know what this setup looks like, I'm gonna show you how all of our signal flow looks in the XR app, where we mix our in-ears, and then show you what each of those in-ear mixes sound like. Right now I'm not connected to my XR mixer, so that won't show up right here to the left of where it says IP and connect. If I was connected to that device using the Wi-Fi signal, I would see that right there. But for right now, I'm just gonna show you what it looks like when you open it for the first time, and you can see all of the channels. So I'm gonna go ahead and click XR18. And so this is what the app will look like when you are not currently connected to an actual mixer. One of the things that we can look at here is how I set up the routing and everything. So I'm gonna go up here and click Setup. And over here, I'm gonna click Layout. And now we can see all of the inputs. The way that I set this up, those are our 4 vocals across the front. Once I name the different inputs, I'm gonna go in and actually change the color of them so that it's a little bit easier to see. So I'm gonna go in and just make these first 4 red, so we can see all the vocals very easily are gonna be identified as red. After that, we start getting into the different instruments. The 5th input is keys. And I'm gonna do blue for keys. And then my guitar is the 6th input, and Tim's guitar is in the 8th input. Because I use this mixer for a couple of different projects, I usually keep the 7th input empty because there might be a use for an acoustic guitar or a second keyboard track or whatever we might need. And the 9th input is bass. 10 we use as a talkback mic when we feel like we need that. Certain shows we feel the need to be able to communicate with each other a little bit more on stage, and for that particular input we actually wouldn't send that to the mains, and we would only send that to the aux mixes. I'll show you more about that in just a moment. Then we have kick, snare, rack tom, floor tom, overhead left, and overhead right. And all of those I'm gonna make yellow. As you can see by making different color choices in the inputs here, I'm able to very quickly differentiate which kind of input I'm looking for. Now I'm looking at the main mix. If you look over here to the right, you can see that the main mix is currently highlighted, and you can see how much of each different thing you might want to put into your mix. And we would want to definitely not put any talkback mic in the main mix. But for right now, we are not talking about the main mix. Another thing we're going to want to look at here on the layout up top, we have the main mix. You name that, you'll see it right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to name each of these based on whose in-ear mix we're controlling. So bus 1, that's going to be David. Bus 2, that's going to be Stephanie. Bus 3, that's going to be Dave. Bus 4 is Tim. Bus 5 is Adam's left. And bus 6 is Adam's right. Something else we're going to want to do, because Adam is using a stereo mix, is we're going to click on his overall track here, and we're going to link that. It says link buses 5 and 6. The answer is yes. We want those linked. In order to control each person's in-ear mix, I would want to hear a significant amount of my vocals. I still definitely want to hear Adam and Stephanie's vocals in order to make sure that I'm tuning correctly with them. Tim very rarely sings, so I'm going to put his vocals a little bit less so I don't get any extra ringing from the cymbals or any extra signal that I don't need. I also play guitar, so I'm going to want a significant amount of my guitar, and then in this band I also sometimes play keys and bass, so I need to hear the instruments that I'm particularly playing. Tim's guitar starts a lot of songs, so in order for me to know where I am, I just need a little bit of that, because if he's starting a song or if he's playing a guitar solo, I like to be able to know where we're at in the song and be able to make sure I come in at the right spots. I definitely want to hear the talkback mic in case there's any communication that needs to happen within the band. We can just speak directly into that talkback mic, and that will not be going to the main mix. I want a little bit of kick and just a touch of the overheads. I don't need to hear the snare, the rack tom, or the floor tom. All of that stuff's just going to muddy up my particular mix. So it's a pretty good idea of what my mix would look like. Let's move on to Stephanie's. Stephanie is going to want a significant amount of her own vocal mix. She also wants to hear me and Adam, but a little bit lower so that she can tune with us. Same thing with Tim's vocal. In order to keep any mess out, we keep that pretty low. She plays a lot more keys than I do, so she wants that pretty heavy. And then she also uses bass as one of the main instruments that she's using to tune her vocals, so she's going to want some bass and just a little bit of these guitars and a little bit of kick. That is generally what Stephanie likes to hear. She'll probably put a little bit of overheads in there too, just to get a little room noise in there, make it feel a little bit more live. That is pretty close to what Stephanie is going to want for her mix. Dave's a little bit different. Dave needs only a little bit of the vocals. He's going to want those pretty even across the top. He doesn't need very much because he knows where he is in the song based on hearing the bass and the guitars and the keyboards. So he's going to want these three things a little bit heavier. He's also really going to want to make sure he's hearing his kick and snare, and he's going to use some overheads as well. That will give Dave a pretty good mix of the things that he's looking for. A little bit more guitar, a little bit more bass, and then just enough kick to really feel it. Tim is really going to be focused on his own guitar playing, and he's going to want to hear bass and guitar and keys as well. He also wants to hear a little bit of kick, a little bit of overheads, and just enough vocals to be able to hear where we're at in the song. He's also going to want to hear his own vocal so that he can make sure his vocals, when he does sing, are in tune. Now for Adam's in-ear mix, this is where it gets really fun because he's using a stereo mix. What he's going to want on his left side is different from what he wants on his right side. He wants to be able to hear on his left Tim's vocal and Tim's guitar because Tim stands to his left. Now Stephanie and I, actually he's going to want his own vocal significantly higher than the rest of us. And then on Adam's right side, he's gonna wanna hear me and Stephanie, my guitar, keys, and he's gonna want bass and kick pretty loud and pretty even on both sides. What you'll notice is that if you start playing your show and your mixes look like this, you're not gonna get any signal, and here's why. If you look over here to the right where it says bus 1, my volume for the bus is all the way down. In order to make sure that you are getting the appropriate amount of signal, you're gonna wanna turn this up and make sure, oh, you just saw right there, you wanna make sure that your signal isn't clipping. We're gonna go ahead and do that for each of these buses or aux sends. And now your in-ear transmitter should be receiving signal. Now that we see what our signal flow looks like, let's see what it sounds like.
Stacy's mom has got it going on. 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 Stacy, can I come over after school? After school, we could hang around by the pool. And by the pool. Did your mom get back from a business trip? The business trip. Is she there? Is she trying to give me the slip? I'm not the little boy that I used to be. I'm all grown up now, baby, can't you see? Stacy's mom has got it going on. She's all that I want, and I waited for so long. Stacy, can't you see? You're just not the girl for me. I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's mom. Stacy's mom has got it going on. Stacy's mom has got it going on. Stacy, do you remember when I rode your lawn? Your mom came out with just a towel on. I could tell she liked me from the way she stared. The way she stared. The way she said, you missed a spot over there. A spot over there. And I know that you think it's just a fantasy, but since your dad walked out, you're wrong, confused a guy like me. Stacy's mom has got it going on. It's all that I want, and I waited for so long. Stacy, can't you see? Not the girl for me. Stacy's mom, whoa, I'm in love with Stacy's mom, whoa. Wait a minute, Stacy, can't you see? You're just not the girl for me. I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's mom.
If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos on how to record your band live, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. If you like what you heard, let us know in the comments below. And if you didn't, you keep that shit to yourself. See you next time.
Stacy's mom, whoa, I'm in love with Stacy's mom, whoa. Wait a minute, Stacy, can't you see?